Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just got back from a nice little beach vacation and
Oh,
ready to
okay.
kick
All
off this
right.
week.
You must have worn sunscreen. You're not real red. So,
I had a hat and glasses on, but my stomach and chest is pretty fried.
uh-oh. Okay. Well, first of all, the very first question I want to ask you is, am I pronouncing this right? Extravaganza travel.
That is 100% perfect.
I love, the first time I was going to send you an email, I kept going back and saying, "Now wait a minute, is this right? Am I misspelling this?" Spell check, and yeah. So it was a
Yeah.
little. I have to get used to that. But how did you decide? I love it. So how did you
Yeah.
decide to do that?
Yeah. So it kind of has a funny story. So obviously my last name is Granza. Um,
Hmm.
and then I'm sure everybody knows the expression, it's a extravaganza. So
Yes.
in my family, it's always been like kind of like an inside joke and a funny story. When there are more than five Granzas in one location, we call it an extravaganza. So that's kind of how that name stuck. So in my family, that's like a known term and everything like that. So when I started this business, that was like instantly my main name that I had in mind. I was like, this is perfect. I
Hmm.
did go back and forth with it because it is so familiar with people are going to think extravaganza and all that. So I went ahead
Yes.
and like so on the business end, I went ahead and I bought the domain extravaganza travel and
Hmm.
everything the way you can misspell it all those different ways. I bought
Oh. Uh huh. Uh
I
huh.
have them all tied to my main website, Extravaganza Travel. So in case
Hmm.
someone does
Hmm.
misspell it or thinks it is Extravaganza, they're going to end up at my site anyway. So,
Very smart. Very smart. Yes.
so
Yes.
I wanted something unique. I didn't want like magical vacations or like the generic Disney ones you hear all the time, which are great, but
Hmm.
I just wanted something kind of unique and that incorporates me into it. So I thought this was perfect.
Yes. Well, I think it's perfect. I love it. I love
Awesome.
it, and I love your website too. I
Thank you.
went not long ago and looked at it, and it's super interesting,
Mhm.
and it's one of those websites where you could surf for a while and kind of get wrapped up in it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I almost clicked on to get a trip quote.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
well, tell me. I know that you have this background in Disney, but
Mhm.
perhaps some of our other members that are going to be watching this don't. So, share a little bit about how that all started. It got you started in travel.
Yeah, so, as a kid, like, really growing up, I really never traveled that much. I was from Connecticut and Pennsylvania. I never really left that area or the Northeast. I never was south of Virginia, until I was in college and I did the Disney college, program, the internship down there.
Oh,
Yep. So I worked at Animal Kingdom Lodge in housekeeping. So I was a housekeeper, cleaning rooms every day, which is what I was going to school for, is hospitality management.
mhm.
Um, and then I fell in love with Disney. I actually met my wife down there. So we started dating right after the college program. Um,
Mhm.
and then we vacationed there a couple times. I ended up a year later when we went back, I proposed in front of the castle.
Oh
So
my gosh.
all that magical story.
Romantic,
Um,
yes.
but we kept vacationing there just because we were in love with it.
Mhm.
Our wedding was even kind of somewhat Disney themed. Like instead of having table numbers, we had table characters or table ride names instead of the numbers, which was pretty cool. But um, but yeah, so
Oh,
then once we got married, I actually was offered a job at the Swan and Dolphin Hotel, which is on
oh,
Disney property, now
yes.
owned by Marriott. But so I was offered a job there. My wife was offered a job working directly for Disney. So we moved back down and we lived down there
Mhm.
for about 5 years.
Mhm.
And I worked in the hotel. She worked in the merchandise warehouse and the floral and garden department for Disney and
Mhm.
the parks every day, just about. So that's kind of where my love for Disney.
Wow, you were living the dream.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, but yeah, and then we got homesick a little bit. So my wife is from North Carolina, so we moved up to North Carolina,
Mhm.
and I took a couple of jobs in hotels and was bouncing around a couple of hotels. And then I actually worked for a company that inspects hotels. So I was your person that traveled all over the country,
Oh.
and did your surprise, I'm here to pass or fail you today,
Oh,
um,
wow.
which was awesome.
Wow.
It was one of the best jobs I ever had.
Mhm.
And I saw 42 different states in 2 years. So it was great. But then I had a little girl, and I didn't want to be gone every single week. So um, I
Mhm.
came back home and got in another hotel. Um, but about maybe 2 years or 3 years into that job, I was kind of getting burnt out. So I was looking for something on the
Mhm.
side, and I had a friend in the area that was a travel agent, um, like a Disney travel agent. And
Mhm.
so I reached out to her and got some information, and I signed up just kind of on the spur of a whim, and with a
Mhm. Mhm.
Disney host agency at that time, or a Disney
Oh,
specialized agency. Um,
yeah.
I was with them for just a couple of months, just kind
Oh.
of learning the ins and outs, and just
Mhm.
really selling Disney only, and really not that much because I had just started. Um, but I always had a passion too for Sandals resorts, which is where we honeymoon and would
Oh,
do our vacations. So
yes.
that was one reason too I wanted to get
Mhm.
into the travel agency. So
Mhm.
I kind of to Jamaica through Sandals. And I
Mhm.
met two agents down there. Shout out to Lisa Williams,
Oh, oh,
who
yeah.
was, who was on the fam with me. And we
Uh-huh.
got to chatting, and she was telling me how amazing Travel Quest was.
Mhm.
So literally the day I got back from that fam, I signed up for Travel Quest and joined Travel Quest. And then it's been
Wow.
smooth sailing since then.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa.
Because your business has really added a lot to our network. A very unique look at some of the ways to sell travel
Yeah.
that you are doing. So that's great. So
Mhm.
that was, I think I wrote down. I didn't
It
write
was
it down, but I think
October
I
of
remember
2020.
2020.
Yeah,
Yes. Uh-huh.
yeah. So right in the heart of the no good word.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
but coming back on the upswing, really,
yeah, yeah.
at that time. So you started then, and you know what amazes me though, it's hasn't been that long, and suddenly you're in our Diamond Club. How did
Mhm.
that happen?
Yeah, so I've had really so I started with that Disney agency in about July of 2019, and then switched
Mhm,
over in October of 2020. In that short time, I really didn't have any bookings. I think I might have sold maybe $20,000 worth of travel. Uh,
mhm.
so it wasn't really anything. But then once I joined Travel Quest, everything just kind of like a light switch flipped and changed. Um,
Wow.
and I just kept promoting, and I've been pushing really hard on Facebook and
Uh-huh,
Instagram. And that's where I
uh-huh,
got a majority of my business from.
uh-huh,
And I'm not like a lot of others that kind of specialize in just one thing. Starting out, I kind of really have done a little bit of everything. I do mostly
uh-huh,
Disney, mostly Sandals and all-inclusive resorts. Um,
uh-huh.
but I do sell cruises. I sell a couple domestic trips to different areas.
Yes.
I've just got into Europe,
I
so
noticed that.
uh,
I noticed that on your
branching out.
website. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so trying to branch out and see kind of where I
Yeah.
really want to fall in the next year or two. But
Mhm,
um, but it's been great. Referrals have been literally my lifesaver. When someone told me that when I first started out, I really
mhm.
didn't believe that that was what was going to
Yeah.
make your business. And now I would
Mhm.
say about 80% of my business is
Wow.
referrals. So it's been really, really good. Last year um, was my best year. And then this year is I'm projected to pretty much double that. So
Mhm.
it's been great.
Well, you know what? That is such a testimony to the service that you give your customers
Mhm.
because referrals, they will grow a business. And also another testimony is it's very smart for you to think of your future because at some point you may have a family that goes to Disney 3 years in a row, but someday they're going to wake up and say, you know what? Let's go to Europe.
Yep.
And so you're preparing for that. You can send them there, or send them on a cruise, or so it's great. It's good to have something you specialize in, but I admire you for trying to learn and expand in other areas.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and I've found with doing that, I've kind of found the trips that I really want to stop selling and the trips that I wanna pursue more. So,
Uh,
um,
I wonder if I should ask you, maybe I can. What trips would you want to stop selling?
so I mean, just more like, more budget trips. So
Mhm,
I love Carnival Cruise Line, and I usually have
mhm.
um, a good mix of clientele that do some upscale cruises with them,
Yes.
but a good majority, we have a port right here in,
Mhm,
in Charleston,
mhm.
South Carolina, which is close, and that's not an expensive
Yeah.
usually, and I get a lot of, like, I want interior rooms, and that
Mhm.
commission check is just getting smaller and
I
smaller.
know.
So,
Well,
but I think, like, a lot of people are repeat clients, and it's easy to sell. It's like, I don't
Mhm.
want people away, but I'm trying to kind of find that
No.
line of
Mhm.
where we can draw.
True, true, but don't discount Carnival, when you're talking about family reunions
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
I had customers in the past where the grandparents went on Regent Seven Seas, but when it took time to take the grandkids, the grandparents wanted the owner's suite,
Yeah.
and they put their adult children in balconies and the kids in inside. So,
Okay.
and then if you get into any kind of corporate travel, the one of the largest sales I ever made in my entire career was I sold travel Carnival cruise certificates to a company for a giveaway.
Okay.
And so it's just, those little 3 and 4 night,
Yeah.
those are tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. But I really enjoy, like, what I
Mhm.
enjoy the most right now is selling all inclusives is probably my
Mhm.
number one, just kind of matching people up to
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
their best fit is, and then obviously Disney is fun. It's a lot of
Right.
work, but it's fun.
Mhm. Yes, yes. So, I saw you at Edge this past
Yeah.
year, and, in fact, I saw you a lot. We were just every place, to get anywhere at Edge this past year, this year, you had to do a lot of walking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, what kind of takeaway if for those who have never been to an Edge meeting, is there, something that stands out in your mind that you took away from that?
Yeah, Edge was great. I really wanted to go last year and couldn't make that
Mhm,
happen.
mhm,
But this year I was so glad I was able to go, and I'm already waiting for the email for next year. But yeah, if you've never been, it's a great time. Really, like, the
mhm,
classes that they teach there, and all of your
mhm,
suppliers, and mingling with all those partners is really great. Where I found kind of the most benefit was just interacting with the other Travel Quest members and learning from those members, and
right,
uh, having those conversations. Because when I wasn't in classes, we were hanging out all
mhm,
together and
mhm.
having a good time, and it wasn't all kind of fun and games, which it was fun, but we had, like, actual business conversations, and
Yes.
learning about the way some people do things this way and how they sell differently, and
Mhm.
it's just a great learning experience. And anytime I can kind of grow my knowledge is great for me. So it's always going to be worth it.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. You never wanna get to the point where you think, "Well, I pretty much know what I'm doing," because in
Yeah,
travel, that's just not possible.
yeah.
It's every day you're learning something that's gonna help you.
Oh, yeah. Or meeting someone that's going to be able to
Mhm.
help you, even if the class necessarily doesn't, because there might have been a class or two there where I might not have got everything out of it because it was kind of more of an overview. But
Uh-huh.
meeting those partners is a lot more beneficial too, and making those connections
True.
and that. So,
True. That's absolutely correct.
mhm.
Well, so I believe you went to Travel Quest World last year
Mhm.
on the
Yeah,
cruise. And have you signed up for this year?
I am. I am signed
Good,
up,
good.
coming in early, and staying a day or two later. So
Huh?
we'll probably throw Disney and Universal on the front end and back end
Oh,
of that. So
yes.
looking forward to that, and getting to interact with all the members and everything.
What would you say to some members that maybe they're on the fence about whether they should spend that money for an airline ticket and the hotel to go to World, the
Do it,
Travel Quest World? Do
100% do it.
it. Just do it.
It's worth it. And I know I've seen in the Facebook group like conversations about um, spending the money to stay on property versus off property or nearby hotel, and Ubering
Mhm,
over.
mhm.
And my suggestion too would be invest in yourself and invest in staying right there on property if you're coming, because when the classes are over, everybody's hanging out. Everybody's going to be
Yes.
staying there and interacting. And those experiences, if you're staying off property and you're running back and forth, it's something you're not really going to get, and you're going to have to miss. So
Yes.
um, I enjoy hanging out with everybody and staying on property.
Mhm,
But aside from that, just coming and having these sessions with the Travel Quest team,
mhm.
with the vendors. I know Travel Quest does a great job of bringing in the top partners all over, and I've heard this year is going to be even better. So I'm looking
It
forward.
is. It
So
is.
um,
Yes, and, I can speak to that, staying at on site. Um, Normally, it would cost you so much more to stay at that
yeah,
Waldorf
oh yeah,
Astoria, and, Angela's worked really hard to put this together, and I think the pricing is great.
oh yeah. I mean, that hotel is
Mhm.
probably triple the price that we're paying at least.
Yes,
And if you
yes.
think about it too, like if you're going to stay off site,
Mhm,
you're only going to be saving probably a couple of bucks from what our rate is. And then when you factor in
mhm,
Uber rides there and back every day,
mhm.
it's going to end up costing you more. So,
True. That's true. Yes.
mhm.
Yeah. Um, so tell me, we still have a few minutes here. Tell me about some future plans. What do you got cooking?
Yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to Disney.
Surprise!
Yeah. Surprise. We bought annual passes a couple
Uh-huh.
months ago. So now we're just trying to get the most
Mhm,
out of it. But we're
mhm.
going tomorrow till Sunday.
Oh.
And then just a quick little weekend trip. And
Mhm,
then in over July 4th, we always go down to Myrtle Beach or Garden City. We have a beach house down
mhm,
there, our
mhm,
family, so we
mhm.
spend a week down there.
Yeah.
The end of July, I have my first group trip that I'm hosting, to
Oh,
Jamaica.
okay.
So I've started, I promoted it last year. It's going to be an extravaganza group trip to the Caribbean. It'll be to a sandals resort, so kind of like a
Mhm,
couples trip. Uh,
mhm.
this year will be the first one to Royal Caribbean in Jamaica, and then next year we're going to Antigua. So
Wow,
it's
okay.
gonna be fun hosting it. I have a bunch of kind of
Mhm,
fun and games planned throughout the week, a group
mhm.
dinner and cocktail party. So looking forward to getting all that set up.
That is great.
Yeah.
And so did that sell pretty quickly or
Yeah, initially it sold pretty quickly. I had it up to about 12 rooms,
Mhm.
um, or 12 couples in 12 rooms, but a couple people had canceled and backed out. So this year we'll have 8 couples, which is still good and I'm
That's
happy
a
with.
great group.
Um,
Yes.
but
Mhm,
next year I haven't even promoted it on social
mhm,
media or my website yet,
mhm.
and I already have 4 couples
Oh
booked
my
for it.
gosh.
So I think next year will be a lot bigger, which will be awesome.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
looking forward to that.
Oh, wow. That's,
Yeah.
yes. That is so great, and to make this an annual
Yeah.
event, you already have one thing on your marketing plan checked off every year. I mean,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
that's great. And then the rest of the year is really, really busy as far as trips for me. So we have World obviously in
Mhm, mhm,
September. Um, we're the week before World. I'm going to Disney with the family, so I'm probably just going to stay there.
mhm, mhm.
And then October back to Disney for the Halloween party. November
Oh
the Diamond
gosh.
Voyage I'll be on. So just signed up
Mhm,
for that Diamond Voyage, which is
mhm.
going to be looking forward to that.
Yes.
And then we go to Disneyland the end of the year. So,
Wow. Busy year. Busy,
oh yeah,
busy.
yeah, can't wait.
So when the Granza family goes to Disney, where do they stay?
So I try to stay at a different resort every time.
Oh, oh, okay.
Um, it's hit or miss. When we go for like a quick trip, if
Uh-huh.
it's just a really quick trip, then
Mhm,
usually we'll try to just kind of save the money and stay at Pop Century.
mhm.
Um, Tomorrow we're staying at Coronado.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
we haven't actually stayed there yet, and we're staying in the main, like the
Mhm.
original buildings.
Yeah.
Um, but in when we go in October, I got a travel agent rate for the new Grand Destino Tower club level. So looking forward to that.
Oh, club level, yes,
Yeah,
that's see, I've been to Disney a few times, and the best trip I ever took, I was at the Polynesian in the
yeah.
club level.
It's my favorite.
I love that
The
hotel.
Poly is my favorite.
Yeah, really, when you walk in, it's almost like it has that Hawaiian feeling,
Oh
like
yeah.
you're there. It's kind of,
Yeah,
it's
if I could afford it, I would stay at the Poly every time or a
Mhm.
deluxe hotel every time. We booked our spring break for next year at the beach club.
Oh,
Um,
mhm,
so we'll be there. But
mhm,
we usually like to try to stay at a different resort usually every
mhm.
time.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
good plan, good
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing you at World this year.
Yeah, same
We'll
here.
hang out, and, just a little hint, Angela's cooking up and the entire team, we're all just brainstorming on fun things to do, but, if you've got something purple to wear, I would set that aside. That's
Okay.
just a hint. Angela will probably fuss at me about that. So,
I have some purple. It's my daughter's favorite color, so I have a couple
oh,
shirts.
really? You
Yeah.
you probably have that then, yeah. All right, well, I appreciate you taking this time because you are crazy busy, and, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on here, and thank you again, and I can't wait to see y'all.
All right, thanks. Have a good day.
Absolutely. You too.
Bye.
Bye.